I time traveled. I went back to Chicago in the 1950s. Don't get me wrong, you don't need professional scientific knowledge, a luxury lab, or to build an actual time traveling machine to take you back to Midwest of the 1950s. All you need is a book. It all started 3 months ago when I ordered a book online named Complete Guide to Chicago by Andrew Haben. It detailed tourist attractions, cityscapes, and famous restaurants in and around Chicago, including Milwaukee and Indianapolis during the 1950s. Everything in the book made me feel familiar, but not quite the same. Like the city I've lived in for nearly 2 years, but with things I've never seen. After reading the book and researching some background stories online, I decided to visit these places written in the book and see how they had changed over time. Back in the 1950s, Chicago was famous for its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets. Michigan Avenue, also known as the Magnificent Mile, was already a popular shopping destination. Let's see how it has evolved since then. Chicago Tribune Tower, facing Michigan Avenue from the east and just on the north of the bridge. It is a 463-foot tall and 36th floor that used to be one of Chicago's tallest skyscrapers in the 50s. Back in the day, the tower was the home of the Tribune and the related Tribune Media, Tribune Broadcasting, and Tribune Publishing. In 1922, the Chicago Tribune hosted an international design competition for its new headquarters to mark its 75th anniversary, and offered $100,000 in prize money with a $50,000 first prize for the most beautiful and distinctive office building in the world. Since then, the Tribune located their base on Michigan Avenue. All the way until June 9, 2018, the Tribune ended their 93-year stint at Tribune Tower and moved to One Prudential Plaza, and the tower was later converted to condos. Facing the Tribune Tower from the west, on the west side of Michigan Avenue is the Wrigley Building. The history of Wrigley Building dates back to the early 1920s, when it was built by chewing gum magnate William Wrigley Jr. In 1920, there were no major office buildings north of the Chicago River. The Michigan Avenue Bridge, which spans the river just south of the building, was still under construction. The 425-foot and 30-floor South Tower was completed in September 1921, and the North Tower in May 1924. Walkways between the towers were added at the ground level and the third level. In 1931, another walkway was added on the 14th floor to connect to the office of the Chicago Statute concerning Back Branch Office. The book not only mentions that the building is a favorite address for advertising agencies and radio companies, but also brings up that it is the home of one of Chicago's oldest and best restaurants. However, when I looked online, there was no information about any historical restaurant in the Wrigley buildings, but a news published in 1989, mentioning the Wrigley restaurant founded in 1936 would be closing on August 25, 1989. Today, the Magnificent Mile is home to some of the city's chicest shops and iconic architectural marvels. While many historic buildings remain, there's a modern fare with new development reshaping the skyline.
Driving along Michigan Avenue, we passed the Chicago Public Library, containing over 800,000 volumes.
With the conversion of Chicago's former Central Library into the Chicago Central Center in 1977, the city's Central Library is now located in the spacious postmodern-style Harold Washington Library Center, which opened in 1991. Among the other architectural masterpieces of the city are the Shedd Aquarium, which opened on May 30, 1930, The Chicago Museum of Natural History, formerly known as Field Museum, which originated from the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition and the Soldier Field Stadium opened in 1924. The stadium used to be named Municipal Grand Park Stadium once it was built, and was renamed in 1925 to honor American soldiers. Originally designed for various events such as concerts and high school football games, it became the Bears' home in 1971 and had its reconstructed in 2003. Speaking of the home of sports team, Chicago is also one of the 3 cities that own 2 Major League Baseball teams in their downtown area. The Cubs play its home games at Wrigley Field, which is located on Chicago's north side. The Cubs, first known as White Stockings, were founding members of the National League in 1876, becoming the Chicago Cubs in 1903. Wrigley Field first opened in 1914 as Winburn Park. The Cubs played their first home game at the park on April 20, 1916, and later named it Cubs Park from 1920 to 1926, before being renamed Wrigley Field in 1927. It is the oldest park in the National League and the second oldest in the majors. You can not only experience the beauty, charm, and history of the ballpark by buying yourself a ticket to watch a Cubs home game during the baseball season, but you can also attend one of their $30 90 minutes public tours to explore some behind the scenes. On the other side, Guaranteed Rate Field, formerly Comiskey Park and U.S. Celery Field, is a baseball stadium located on the south side of Chicago. It is the ballpark of Major League Baseball Chicago White Sox. The park opened as Comiskey Park on April 18, 1991, taking its name from the former ballpark, at which the White Sox had played since 1910. And yes, they also have tours to attend. And this is State Street, where the Chicago Famous Theater and the Marshall Field and Company building are. Marshall Field and Company was an upscale department store in Chicago that was founded in the 19th century. It grew to become a large chain before Macy's acquired it in 2005. After that, the building officially became one of Macy's flagship stores. However, you could still find another evergreen spot on the State Street. The Borough, a 100% family-owned and family-operated German restaurant opened in 1893, could probably bring you back to the good old times in Chicago. Great beer with authentic food in a historic spot. How can people resist that?
And now we come to what is Chicago's most revered landmark, the old water tower, one of the few constructions that survived the Great Fire of 1871.
The Chicago Water Tower now serves as a Chicago Office of Tourism as a small art gallery, known as the City Gallery in the historic water tower. It features the work of local photographers, artists, and filmmakers. Chicago is known for its big city energy, famed restaurant, and iconic architecture. Each corner of the cities tell a story of transformation and revival. Now, let's hop over to Milwaukee and explore how this city will be through a vintage lens. In the 1950s, Milwaukee was known for its brewing industry and as a hub for manufacturing. The Milwaukee River, which we are walking along right now, played a crucial role in that industry economy.
The city started to develop pre-Civil War development. We have some houses that are left from pre-Civil War times that are still here. We're a relatively young city compared, though, to the people back east. And we were first a commercial center, and then we started becoming a manufacturing center, and we had the beer business started in as the thousands of German immigrants came into the city.
Today, the river has transformed into a vibrant area filled with art galleries, eateries, and public park. It's a testament to the city's shift from industrial to cultural vitality. Next stop, I came to Milwaukee City Hall. It was built in 1895. And this stunning architectural gem features a 393-foot, 15-floor Clark Tower, making it one of the tallest municipal buildings in the world at that time. It was also Milwaukee's tallest building until the completion of the first Wisconsin Tower in 1973. Now, let's head over to the Brewers Ballpark, also known as American Family Field. It opened in 2001 as a replacement for Milwaukee County Stadium and has been home to Milwaukee's beloved baseball team since then. The originally ballpark was called Milwaukee County Stadium, which was just right next to the new one. In 1955, the same year of its opening, the Braves moved from Boston to Milwaukee and made County Stadium their home field, but they still moved to Atlanta after the 1965 season. Now, the site of the old infield was converted into a little league park called Helfer Field on a picnic concourse next to the playing field of Heifer Field. There is an outline of where home plate was at County Stadium. Last but not least, I visited the historic Pabst Brewery. Founded in 1844, Pabst was one of the Milwaukee's largest breweries, producing famous beers like Pabst Blue Ribbon. Although the brewery ceased operation in 1996, its heritage lives on through the Pabst Mansion and the revival of Pabst Blue Ribbon as a cultural icon. After seeing how history thrives here and drinking a lot of good beer, now let's travel south to Indianapolis. In the 1950s, Monument Circle was the throbbing heart of Indianapolis, much like it is today. However, back then, the cityscape was less crowded and more focused on post-war development. Fast forward to today, and you'll see a bustling urban center alive with markets and public gatherings. No visit to Indianapolis will be complete without talking about its racing heritage.
This is, and always will be, the greatest spectacle in racing. This is the Indianapolis 500.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been iconic since its inception in 1909, well before our 1950s guide was written. It is the third oldest permanent automobile racetrack in the world, with a permanent seating capacity of 257,325, becoming the highest capacity sports venue in the world. For motor lovers, it's more than just a racetrack. It's a cultural landmark that put Indianapolis on the global map and filled their spirits. Today's Indy is a vibrant, diverse, and continues to honor its historical roots, while racing towards a dynamic future. We've seen how the city honors its past while accelerating into the future. Our journey through Chicago, Milwaukee, and Indianapolis has shown us how each city retains its historical charm, while embracing the new. From architecture to their city highlights, these cities reflect the vibrant spirits of America. Everything in our city is always a part of the history for the people in the future. They might be gone, but they will never be forgotten.